It's episode 1303, and it's the Relevant Podcast here in Orlando. I'm your host, Cameron Strang. We have a great show coming up today on Relevant Buzz. We are going to talk about some news with the Mel Gibson's Resurrection movie. A little update there. We got some news out of the PGA world. Apparently, Scottie Scheffler's not just a great golfer. There's more to him. And Johnnyswim joins us, an exclusive interview about some amazing projects, not an album, a lot of stuff coming up, and this is going to be your first look at a lot of, it's going to be the year of Johnnyswim. They're coming up later in the show. We have slices, of course, some Joey Chestnut news will probably make an appearance. Some Cybertruck news will probably make an appearance. And at the end of the show, I am so excited for this. It's your feedback. It's the first edition of the editorial question of the week comeback. We asked you about movies that scarred you as a child that you probably shouldn't have seen when you did. Lots of replies, lots of scarring out there. And let me just say this. Titanic was actually a thing for a lot of you. So anyway, joining me to get through all that, please welcome from Loverland, Virginia, it's Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Nashville, our very sick, flu-ridden managing editor downtown, Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all. I was going to try to hide it, but you could probably tell pretty much right away that
I just want people to know how much you care about them, that you are willing to go above and beyond and not miss
That is true. I
podcast.
couldn't leave the fam down, you know?
Yeah,
I've never coined this, and I have actually never mentally articulated it, but I've subconsciously thought about it. But it's flu game theory, okay? Like, everyone knows Michael Jordan famously, well, now in The Last Dance, he said he was intentionally food poisoned by disgruntled pizza guys at an away game. But he, they call it the flu game because he's very under the weather, and he had an incredible playoff performance. And it was in spite of the flu. I actually, and I've had a couple of flu game, podcast appearances, and I think you actually, and this is true for football too. Like, when a quarterback gets older and they can't run as fast and scramble, they actually get better. They get better because they realize they have to win with their arm and their brain, right? They can't just outrun. That's why, like, Tom Brady is better as like a 40-year-old than he was as like a 30-year-old, because you take something away and you compensate with other things.
So like, if you lose a sense, your other senses get sharper.
That's right. I think Emily's going to have a great show via my flu game theory. I think she's a little down and out, but she's going to be mentally compensating in other ways.
I definitely think I'm going to be a lot more unfiltered, which is going to be better or worse for the show. So
let's just say there's a weird cocktail of Dayquil and NyQuil happening in her right now. So
yeah, the little two-for combo. They don't tell you about that, but trust me, it works.
That's the real reason flu game theory works, is because a lot of times people are on drugs and they're performance enhancing in nature.
Okay,
Steroids,
little house
caffeinated antibiotics and things.
Little housekeeping news here right up at the front, because we don't want to bury it at the end and you guys miss it and then get mad at us. Next week, there will be no podcast. We are taking the week off. There's a number of reasons. There's a holiday during our recording week. That's not the real reason. But Derek and Marty and Jesse and I will all be in Montana for our annual shindig, gathering, trip, whatever that we do.
Boys hang.
And it's always stressful. I'll be honest with you. It's always stressful when we do that, because it straddles all the days that a podcast, recording, edited, posting, that we're gone, right? So we have to do it so early that it's like nothing happened since the last recording. Our whole thing is covering what's going on in faith and culture. We would have to record on like the next business day from this podcast to get one done. It wouldn't be a good show.
We would just have to confidently predict what's happening at the intersections.
That's right.
And talk about it as if it actually occurred. And, people would be surprised how many weeks we do that and just nail it.
We have to record early. So if you look at the whole year, we're going to take the last day or last week off as well, the week in between Christmas and New Year's. So that'll be 50 episodes this year instead of 51. So hope you guys can handle only 50 hours of our nonsense instead of 51 hours of our nonsense.
Yeah,
2026.
it's a lot. Cameron, what are you doing? Are you doing anything to prepare yourself for Montana this year? Are you purchasing anything? Are you
I think I might bring a football just to like kind of throw a football around.
Yeah.
That's little like time filler activities. We bring dominoes, we bring cards, stuff like that. But just throwing a football, hanging out, listening to music, talking.
I've told Brian.
I might bring a football.
I've heard Brian mention this before. I think we need a basketball hoop out there. Run some 3-on-3.
I agree. Although there's a lot of guys that think they can play still. I watch Bravo reality shows. There's a show called The Valley. It's a bunch of people in their 30s and early 40s maybe. There's one guy. He was a played high school basketball. He played in intramural college. He played in an over 30s league for 5 years, but he hadn't played in a few years. The guys on the show were going to run a little 2-on-2, little 3-on-3 game, and just kind of chop it up. Literally, he goes in for a layup, and this guy's athletic. He is cut. He is like a gym guy. He goes up for a layup, blows his knee out, and has to get taken away on an ambulance. Dude, we're in the middle of nowhere, Montana. There are no ambulances. I think Brian's too cautious. He'll never do it.
Basketball, I would say, probably has the highest injury rate, even more than like grown men.
For guys who are not like in their 20s. Yes,
yeah, exactly. Because I would say even more than like contact sports, because like if a bunch of guys were playing football, right? Or I assume this applies to women of the same age too. You kind of pull up a little, like you there's an acknowledgement of, okay, I'm not really gonna tackle you because I don't want to get hurt. Basketball,
the Thanksgiving football or flag football game with the family. You're not going.
No one's getting dragged out. But I've seen driveway ball get violent. I mean, in the spectrum of violent sports that you can recreationally participate in, just with people hanging out, and all of a sudden, someone catches an elbow to the throat, and one of the uncles is blown out an ankle. Driveway basketball is high, but you know what number one on the list is, don't you?
No. What?
Pool basketball. Here's why. Okay. You would think the fact that you're surrounded by water, that's like, oh, how can you possibly get hurt? I don't know when the last time you guys played pool basketball. We got Cameron, you have a basketball hoop in your pool.
Every weekend. I literally.
But I'm not talking about shooting around. I'm talking about, okay,
No, it's me and Cohen. I don't want to hurt my son. He doesn't. Yeah, we're not gonna battle it like that.
Here's the problem with pool basketball. There's two fatal flaws of the game. One, it's nearly impossible to make a jump shot on most of those pool hoops. Almost impossible. You're
Steph Curry right here, man. Steph Curry and pool basketball.
Okay,
literally. That's what I do. That's all I do, Emily, on the weekends. That's my weekend plans, is just float in the pool and shoot the basketball.
But this is also you doing this with like no one around you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like no pressure or anything.
And
nobody's guarding the 3-point line in pool basketball. I'd be out there on my own anyway. They just don't realize that I'm well trained in that shot across the pool.
Either way, you don't want to be the guy calling goaltending in pool basketball. So no jump shots are happening. There's one way to score in pool basketball. That is to lower your shoulder and push your way to the hoop for a dunk. And there's one way to defend that. And that is to push back. And that's where things get violent fast. That's the flaw. Pool basketball is basically rugby in the pool. I've seen near drownings in pool basketball. I've seen two twin brothers literally fight in a like with fist in an above ground pool basketball game. Going up for the dunk, one gets pushed in the back, bam, head on the side. To be fair, that's the one way to defend the dunk.
That's maybe the most Virginia thing you've ever described.
It was in Oklahoma.
Above ground pool.
It was in Oklahoma.
Okay.
That
fits as well. Alabama, Mississippi, Oklahoma, Virginia. Those are your
I do feel like
above ground pool twins fighting pool basketball.
I feel like there's something to do with like you're in the water. You don't think you're going to get injured. Like who gets injured in a pool? I know how to swim. Like I think mentally you're not prepared for the physicalness.
I actually think they shouldn't allow hoops in above ground pools. I feel like it's like above ground pool, very dangerous, right? For a variety of reasons. It's only so deep. It's got that kind of fragile wall. I feel like a lot of people who own above ground pools have a propensity for other dangerous things in the backyard. Hoops,
like rusty bikes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like
rusty trampolines,
semi-functioning lawn equipment, things like that. Old swing sets, like
old swing sets, rusty old swing sets from the 70s
that they try to use to propel themselves into the pool. But here's the thing: the hoop is very dangerous. We've established that. The above ground pool is very dangerous. You put them together, I feel like you should not be able to get homeowners insurance. I feel like they know bad things are going to happen at this household. It's inevitable.
Speaking of homeowner, this is a very homeowner anecdote that you just talk about homeowners insurance. My pool, mid-century house, and it was all very original when we moved in. So the pool is huge. It's like this old school 12-foot deep rectangle that you would see at like a community center. It's huge.
Yeah.
It had a diving board and a slide, like, because it was like from that era that they had slides. And so when I bought the house, we had to take the diving board and slide out, or else I couldn't insure the house. Well, I took the diving board out. Well, there's 3 bolts still in the concrete. And so after the insurance went through, I went on Amazon and bought a new diving board and put one back in and just bolted it down. Had it for years. I didn't know they do this, but then when they renew your insurance, an insurance agent can walk around your property without telling you. He goes around back, sees the diving board.
Wait,
and
they
I
can
get
just
flagged.
They can just enter the backyard?
Yeah, he did, because he saw the diving board. This was like 3 years later, and I got flagged that they were going to cancel my policy unless I took the diving board out again, and I did. But
and then did you put it back after they?
No, by then I'm like 2 strikes. I'm fine. Yeah. So now we don't have a diving board. We have this huge pool, and we've got to jump off the edge like an idiot. Anyway,
did the insurance? So hold on. Did the insurance agent say anything about the 3 metal bolts sticking out right beside the edge of the pool?
No, and they're still there. If you're running around the edge of my pool, watch out on the deep end side. There's 3 big bolts sticking out of the concrete. So,
yeah, I feel like that presents a little bit more of a liability than the diving board, personally. I have a slice later about how lame this country's gotten, by the way, because we used to be a proper country where where we encouraged diving boards. Okay, like we're actively discouraging acts of bravery in this country. I'm tempted to do the slice right now because I have 2, but I'll save it, I guess.
You know what? I'm fine. Go for it.
Let's do slices.
It's 3 of us today. Derek and Marty aren't available. I forgot to mention that. Go for it. We're going to do a pre-slice. Take it away.
We used to design vehicles in this country about a generation ago when we were a proper country that not only had ashtrays in them, okay, in the vehicle. All right. Just think about that for a minute. I
have a car that has the center console of my 1984 Mercedes convertible. The center console, this beautiful luxury car, pops out, and there is a 9-inch long, huge ashtray and cigarette lighter.
Okay, so here
perfect working order, by the way.
A lot of people would argue that like the American muscle car, like the Mustang or Camaro or something, is the most American. Is the car that captures the American spirit. You know what I say it is? It's one of those boxy, wood paneled station wagons that has the jump seat in the back that looks out backwards so kids can taunt the driver behind them. That's why it was designed. It was to encourage mischief, and not to mention large portions of the car were made out of wood that would splinter in an accident. And it looked cool, so who cares? It's this car made out of wood, all right? We're driving around in wooden cars where kids are looking backwards. It's a rear-ending disaster, okay? There's no trunk in this thing. It is, you're looking in the eye. You're looking in the eye of the person behind you. Like,
as they come and collide.
Exactly. And by the way, those seats were designed for children. Okay, and there's ashtrays in that car too. It was the embodiment of an era that is lost And
Dude,
it was
I saw because I now that I'm in like vintage car world, my TikTok algorithm has gone that direction, and so a lot of these dealers that do like cheap, old, cool finds, I get those videos a lot. Somebody had a factory fresh 1979 van that all of everything I'm about to describe is from the factory. It was shag carpeting on every surface. I mean, it wasn't just on the floor, it was on the dash, it was on everything. Shag carpeting. There was an L couch in the back that converted to a bed. There was 2 captain's chairs that swiveled, and they all centered around a literal bar that was built into the van that had glasses and cocktails and a mini fridge. Like, from the factory, they put a bar in the back of the van. That is unbelievable to me.
And for some reason, that van also had, I guarantee you, it had like velvet curtains on the windows.
Yeah, it did. It had the curtains.
And for some reason,
all the chairs were velvet. Yeah.
And for some reason, they're like, you know what? We got to put a ladder on this bad boy in case they're just wanting to climb up on the roof for reasons that are unexplained. No vehicle other than those vans have ever just said, they might be the person that owns this van at some point is going to want to climb up on that roof. Let's go ahead and slap a ladder on there. It had no. He's going
to want to bring a folding chair and just enjoy the sunset.
The type of person that's buying this. Yeah, they were thinking to themselves, the type of person that's buying this van is finding their way onto the roof of this van one way or the other. We might as well put a ladder on it.
That's right. I just couldn't believe there was a factory finished mini bar in the van. But
would you say
proper country, like you were
saying? Would you say that van is the diving board of retro vehicles? Something that
we're proper country. If you're going to break your arm flying your body off a diving board, it's a rite of passage. You're 11. Yeah, you're only 11 once. Go break something.
Yeah, we're Americans, and that's why I want to talk about this story.
I forgot. I was shocked.
Yeah, this is this is very important that we address this.
Emily's saving up her energy for Relevant Buzz, by the way. she will talk.
I've been here the whole time. I promise. Yeah.
Real quick, Emily, before we get to it, what are your thoughts on vans that have ladders on the side? Go.
Well, honestly, as you were describing it, I was like, you're right. We did used to have more fun with cars. Like, I want a curtain on my car and a ladder and some foldable chair. Like, I can. And then I was thinking, I was like, can I just do that myself? Like, can I just put that in the back of my car?
Your Nissan Rogue, you're just gonna kit it out with a little ladder, and
I have like a little latch at the back. I can I need to find a small ladder and fold it up, and I can do this myself. Why do I have to wait for others?
I will tell you, getting this 1980s car and needing a lot of TLC, I have learned that when you take said car to people to do said TLC, they charge a premium. And so I've gotten really thrifty and online and watching YouTube videos and buying parts and buying little upgrades and upgrade the stereo this week and ripped everything out and all this kind of stuff. Emily, I'm telling you, there's a whole community of people who modify their cars. Go for it. I think your Nissan Rogue can be upgraded.
That's the era I'm in now because I just paid it off last year. So I'm running her into the ground. Like I hated having a car payment. So now I get to have fun and modify her. And have some fun with it. So if you see me on your car TikTok,
other than velvet curtains, which seems like a reasonably easy modification.
Yeah.
What else?
You go to Joann's Fabric for that. Yeah.
Yeah. What else do you have in mind for her?
Honestly, the ladder thing, I gotta figure that one out because I do travel a lot with her. I don't know.
Yeah.
I gotta brainstorm some stuff. Comment below what I should do to my Nissan Rogue.
Nissan Rogue. We don't know if the roof can support the weight of anything up there.
We're gonna find out.
We'll find out. Right.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
I think you slap a couple KC lights. Remember when people did those? There was like, I'm gonna put dangerously bright spotlights right on the roof.
Oh
that just project
those huge
outward. Yeah.
You know what I always hated? The eyelashes on the bug, on like the VW bugs. I hated those. I won't be doing that.
Why not?
Because it was ugly.
Okay, so you're going to take it more like Land Rover, Land Cruiser, like kit it out with like the lights and the ladders and the racks and the. Okay, yeah, I can see that. I like it.
Yeah, I'm not going to put a smiley face on my car. No.
Right. Anyway, Jesse.
So back in 2022, Elon Musk, the owner of Tesla, tweeted about the car that they were developing, and then just kind of a concept that people were, I would say, eager to see what it would translate to in real life. And he said the Cybertruck will be waterproof enough to serve briefly as a boat, so it can cross rivers, lakes, and even seas that aren't too choppy. Okay, so he tweeted that. You guys may remember.
Okay. I know for a fact that the Cybertruck can only go up to 30 inches of water, like a small creek. Like it's supposed to, like a Land Rover. It can go over very, very shallow water. It is not a floating boat vehicle. Anyway,
again, that's not according to this gentleman. His last name is McDaniel, who's a Cybertruck owner. I think he was of the mind. I'm putting myself in his head. Because he drove his Cybertruck down a boat ramp directly into a lake. Okay. Because I think he was of the mindset that the reason they put that, restriction on quote unquote wade mode that don't go over 30 inches deep is because the fun police came along and said, we can't actually have people. But he was like, it can do it. That's my theory
because Elon said that it can do it, even though the manual says not more than 30 inches.
It's like the self-driving thing. It's like, hey, you should still pay attention to the road. And then there's videos of people like watching Lord of the Rings, taking a nap on the interstate or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I think he was thinking that. And so, he drives it directly into a lake. It immediately takes on water, and he and his passengers abandoned the Cybertruck. Okay,
passengers, people were with him on this.
He had some friends.
There's an old white-haired guy climbing out the back window, clinging to the side of the Cybertruck.
So look, at this stage of the game,
so they're not like young. Just FYI, these men are in their 60s, like by all accounts.
They grew up in a different America than we did.
Back when we could have bars in our cars, yeah.
And a public boat ramp is a public boat ramp. Hard stop. Okay.
So what happened to him? So the Cybertruck took on water.
They abandoned it. The fire department had to come fish it out. At this point in the story, in my mind, it's like, okay, he's liable to pay to get the Cybertruck out. He got it there. He should pay to get it out. I understand.
Sure.
But again, it's a public boat ramp. All right. Well, now in the story, the fun police, in this case, the actual police, get involved with this gentleman. He was charged with operation of a vehicle in a closed section of the lake and not having a valid boat registration, as well as several other water safety equipment violations. What are we doing here?
He learned his lesson. He ruined his Cybertruck. Leave him alone. Yeah. He's going to pay for the tow truck.
This is no crime. We should be encouraging this type of behavior. Like I said, we sent Lewis and Clark out. We didn't know when they're coming back. We didn't know where the end was. Just, hey guys, start hiking. When you hit water, head on home. Okay. We don't know what you're going to find out there. They could be gone forever. And it was just like, that's kind of what they signed up for. We literally have no idea. It's incredibly dangerous. And the president,
from Lewis and Clark,
and the president of the United States, the president of the United States was like, hey man, just go. Like, you guys, it's just you two. If you get some guides along the way, good luck. And we encourage that type of behavior, that spirit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Had we been the same attitude as these police officers who charged this guy with boat crimes, I don't think this country would be settled west of the Mississippi right now. I think we would be sitting on thousands of, which, honestly, probably good for conservation. But either way, you get my point.
I agree. Yeah,
you should not be restricted on the boat ramp use. If the city is putting in a boat ramp, it's for the residents' use and it's their discretion. What are these crimes? This is ridiculous.
And in his defense, he thought it was a boat. So what's the crime here?
Elon said it was, right? I mean, apparently that was the intent.
Well, the problem is one of the charges was not having a valid boat registration. So I think the police saw
True.
it. But again, I don't believe in boat registration. I don't think Uncle Sam needs to be aware of the boats I may or may not own. It's not their business.
I think that's the most Ron Swanson thing you've ever said.
I mean, he is Jesse is a libertarian. I mean,
I
like
am.
20 years of dogmatic. I mean, he has a consistent worldview. I'll say that.
But what I'm saying is, what is the point of registering a boat other than having
you
to pay
can tax the
registration
boat
fees?
owners.
Yeah.
So you tax the boat owners to pay for the upkeep of said public city-owned boat ramps, public waterways, which are maintained. There's pest eradication. There's ecological.
Let me stop you there.
Oversight.
Let me stop you there. There's no need for pest eradication. Okay, if you own a boat, you know the risk. Okay, muskrats, gators,
the people
what have
who
you.
use the waterways, the public waterways, pay through those registrations for the maintenance of said waterways. I think it's a valid thing. At least we're not. If they don't do boat registrations, then we're all going to have to chip in and pay for the lakes that not all of us use.
Well, boats are symbols of freedom in this country, and the fact that we register, there's a registry with names of boat owners. It's a slippery slope, guys. What would Lewis and Clark say? They would have gotten to the Rockies and be like, well, turn around, can't traverse this. No, what'd they do? They found a way. I don't know how. I honestly looked into it, but I know they made it all the way, found their way back.
You haven't looked into Lewis and Clark?
Not
been a while.
extensively. Not extensively.
Jesse was very good at playing the Oregon Trail in elementary school, but other than that, he hasn't paid attention.
And I forded the river every opportunity, and killed.
Yeah, but you died of dysentery about every other time.
I forded the river every time, and at the general store, I bought 2 items.
What?
A rifle and ammunition, because this caravan's hunting for all their food, and we would slaughter fields of bison and leave it for the fellow caravans because they have proper supplies to cook them, not us. We only have rifles. That's literally what I would do.
So you had to go first. You had to go in front of the caravan.
And
can you imagine if people didn't know you were up there and they're just going along and there's just all these dead animals just all over the place?
I would literally go to the general store right out of the gate and just, and they're telling you to buy, blankets and extra wheels and all this stuff. And it's like, no. We're going to need rifle and ammo in this caravan. Listen, we're fording the first river we see. We're not making it that far. Let's just go hunting for the remainder of the class period. While these nerds are playing touch typing for beginners. Not us. We are slaughtering the great American bison. Hundreds. Like a little thing would come up on screen. It'd be like, you can only carry in your caravan like 300 pounds. And there are I'm surrounded by just dozens of bison. And it was a slaughter. Pure slaughter.
And are they like 2,000 pounds each or something?
Yeah, we weren't taking them with us.
All right. Okay. So let's see. How do we get out of that? That wasn't even slices. That was just a pre-slice.
Yeah.
So there you go. Right after this, stay tuned. It's Relevant Buzz.
Relevant Buzz.
Okay, it's time for Relevant Buzz. Tell us what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture this week, Emily.
Okay, I've got an update for you about Mel Gibson's sequel to The Passion of the Christ. The filming on The Resurrection of the Christ has officially wrapped, and the project is still scheduled to be released in 2 parts. However, initial plans said that it was going to be released in 2027, both the first part on Easter Day and the second part on Ascension Day. Now, both parts are being released on Ascension Day 1 year apart. So the first part will come out May 6, 2027. Second part will come out May 25th, 2028.
I got to be honest, like, it makes sense. I mean, like, how many families want to go see 2 movies like 3 weeks apart from each other or whatever? Like it's almost like it would cannibalize its own ticket sales.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to talk ticket sales, separating it makes sense to me.
I don't know. I'm going to go contrarian here. I hate this trend. Like the last Spider-Man movie, the animated one, the Spider-Verse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, it ends. Peter Parker's like tied to a chair, about to be killed by the villain, and it's like, oh, I can't. It literally ends on a cliffhanger, and it's like, oh, I'll wait 5 years to see how this scene ends.
Yeah, but 1 year is different. And Wicked just did this successfully. Part 1, Part 2, 1 year apart.
Here's the thing that okay, so you bring up
I
Wicked.
lost interest. I didn't see Wicked 2.
Part
I
1
didn't see
was
either of them.
Part 1 was the good part. Part 2 was not the good part. That's my thing with splitting it up with 2 parts. They both have to be good parts. We already have no idea what this plot is going to be. So I'm curious, what are you doing that is going to be 4 hours long probably?
We know what the story is, though. He said the first half is going to be a fever dream and will show us the 3 days after the crucifixion before the resurrection on Easter Sunday. I'm assuming part 1 is that more supernatural story, and part 2 is after he's risen until the ascension. And that story, which is a very different story than the spirit realm story. The idea of splitting those 2 stories makes actual sense. They're very different stories.
They are. I guess I'm just concerned about the first part in general then because
the first part's the trippy one.
That's where I'm like, what is your vision for what
he said? Mel Gibson
means?
said it's going to be an acid fever dream. That's what he said.
That's what I'm nervous about. Is like because I'm like, if that's your first part, and I don't like that, I don't know if I'm going to want to go see the second part.
The second part, he's like interacting with the disciples. He's like all the stuff.
Yeah. I watched the last 2 Mission Impossible ones, like Ghost Protocol and whatever, in like consecutive couple nights, right? Because they were sequels, and there's no way I was watching one and then waiting for the next.
Right.
And it was great. It was one big Ghost Protocol, one big protocol. Sure. I loved it. I don't like that. It's like the last Fast and Furious movie. Vin Diesel's tied up in a bell tower or whatever, and we got to. It's the same thing. I just don't like this. I think, people binge watch 8 hours of a TV show over the course of like 2 days. They can handle 2 movies. It's a contrarian take.
Yeah, but so you also got to think he's self-funding this thing. So ticket sales actually really matter. So you got to think again, the cannibalization thing. That's what I thought of immediately. But then 2, when that second year comes, that second release, guess what? You can bring back for a limited release on Good Friday, Easter weekend, right beforehand. Bring back part 1 again, extra ticket sales. So like you can double dip a little bit here. I think that's probably the economics is probably why, because this change was announced when they also announced that Lionsgate was going to be the distributor. He signed an official theatrical distributor. And I think they probably had some say in how do we maximize ticket sales here.
Well, here's the other risk for someone, and this is just movie business talk. Kevin Costner took the same approach. He had the first 2 Horizon movies filmed, signed a distribution deal, and said we're going to release. I could release them both. Initially, he was going to release them back to back, but he decided to wait a year. The first one underperformed, and the distributor said, we're not going to distribute the second one. And he's just sitting on the second when his initial plan was to release them back to back. Like it was the exact same scenario. But either way, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that is the risk here.
It is a risk. You're right. What's next, Emily?
Moving on. I've got some news from the golf world today. Are they all big golfers? I didn't think so.
I enjoy it, but I don't play frequently.
I watched the Masters. That was good. I watched that Netflix show about the golfers.
There's a Netflix show about golfers?
Yeah, just like F1 and all the other kind of sports documentary things that they do. And they follow like a whole season. The F1 one is the model. And they did the same thing for golf, where they'll follow a handful of golfers throughout the PGA season leading up to the championship and stuff. And so you have some new guys who are trying to make it, some of the big name guys. And so it's very good. It's compelling. So,
is it as exciting as the F1?
Less speed and more hitting a ball, but
similar
it's high
tension.
style.
It's high tension.
Similar storytelling for sure.
Well, I truthfully am not a big golfer, but I do know the big names like Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods, and Scottie Scheffler, who I know is not only one of the greatest golfers, but he is also a very outspoken Christian. He has spoken about his faith a lot actually over the years, but there was a recent clip this week that caught my attention that I just found really compelling and I wanted to share with y'all.
I think it always goes back to the why. So like why there's nothing, I think that's something that always gets messed up with faith too, is it's like, it's not a bad thing to pursue excellence. When I think about golf and like, why do I play golf? I play golf to glorify God. So when I go out and practice, I'm glorifying God by going out and practicing. I want to get the most out of that time with my practice. It's not bad to have the desire to want to be really good at something. That's a good thing. It's just the why. It's like, do I want to be a really good golfer so that I can become famous, or do I want to become a really good golfer to glorify God? And so I think when you're looking at trying to become excellent at something, I think you always just got to go back to the why.
Understand. So that was him speaking at College Golf Fellowship, which is a group for college golfers who are also Christians.
He has my all-time
like an
favorite
FCA for golf.
Yeah, he has my all-time favorite athlete arrest. You know, he's arrested about a year and a half ago.
Oh, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
Scottie?
Yeah,
Trying to go to the Masters, right? Trying to like
it
pull
wasn't the
in.
Masters. It was another big tournament, and they block off traffic so that the players can make their tee time. And so he pulls up and proceeds to the lane that is reserved for him to go in, and a police officer there, you know, didn't think he was telling the truth about who he was. And anyway, he ended up missing his tee time because he got arrested and actually went to jail. He was a good sport about it. But you don't hear a lot of salacious athlete arrest stories. We might actually be discussing one later in the show. But that's my favorite, is he was doing things so excellently. He was getting there early to knock the ball around, just like you said, do things with excellence, you know?
Yeah.
It was too excellent. He actually had to go to jail for it.
Got punished.
Did
Had to go to
that
jail.
cop get in trouble for that?
I don't know. I haven't heard. I didn't hear what happened. Because
that's a pretty bad thing to mess up. So
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened with the officer, you know, but we all make mistakes in life. So who knows?
That's very true.
I gotta imagine he was probably on thin ice because he was relegated to, you know, early morning parking duty at a golf tournament. So I don't think he was,
Yes.
Not the star cop.
The arresting officer, Detective Brian Gillis, was disciplined with corrective action by the Louisville Metro Police Department for failing to activate his body-worn camera during the incident. So that's the only reason why he got in trouble, because he didn't wear his body cam.
Why do they have a detective doing the traffic?
I feel like there's a deeper story here.
You know, why is he a detective?
Another officer at the scene, Javar Downs, was also investigated for failing to turn on his body cam during the Scheffler incident. Downs was subsequently arrested and fired from the police department for an unrelated theft case involving thousands of dollars seized from a suspect. So these guys were shady cops.
Wow.
That's why they don't turn on their body cams.
And Scottie helped expose them, so he really is doing great work.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, what's next?
Moving on to the last item of buzz, I want to share a conversation I had with Johnnyswim this week. You guys know Johnnyswim; they're friends of the show.
They were on the cover of our magazine.
Yeah, you know him.
Look, the Abner stayed here. Like we know them.
We know them. And obviously we've always talked with them about their music, but a lot of y'all don't know this. Over the last year, they've done a lot more different creative projects that are just starting to come out this year. And so I wanted to talk with them about it. So we kind of have an exclusive interview with them about all these different projects that they're about to drop.
I'm excited you did this because Johnnyswim, it was like in the last 2-3 months, I've literally thought, why haven't they put out any new music? Like, what is going on? Like, there was a little momentum building and then like they went away, and it's because the momentum turned into other opportunities. And I didn't know that. So I'm excited to hear this piece.
Yes. I'm just going to give you a little teaser of each of the different projects because they're working on 3 big ones. So the first one I want to talk about is they have currently helped create a musical that premiered in Edinburgh last year. And they're actually reworking it to go to the West End in London. But it is called One Day. It's based on a book that was then a movie starring Anne Hathaway and also a Netflix series that came out 2 years ago. So it's a really big like IP, but they were asked to create all of the music for it. So they have kind of been going back and forth between the UK and California over the last year working on rehearsals. I asked them, what was it about writing a musical that drew them into it? Because this is obviously a little different than what they normally do. And here's what they had to say.
It's been so much work in the sense that they're just new things. They're things that we haven't done before, especially the musical. It's so within our wheelhouse. We've done something called Songs with Strangers during the pandemic, where we just wrote songs based on other people's stories that we would meet online, and we would write it, in a few hours, and we would try to record it and have it out by the next morning, just as like a challenge and just to have fun. So we've done stuff like that where, you're writing songs quickly and you're listening to somebody's story and you're processing it as if you were them. So it's so many things, so many tools that we used for that, we're using in musical theater, which was great, but there's also so much other stuff to it that we didn't realize. And there's so many other, collaborative voices because, we can write that so-and-so walks in and they sing something to the other person and then somebody else walks in, but then the choreographer might go, oh, we actually can't do that because they have to do a quick change in the back. So they can't sing that part, So there's all sorts of stuff like that where it kept us on our toes.
It continues to keep us on our toes.
It continues to keep us on our toes. It's just, you have to be really flexible. And you have to keep the juices of creativity flowing because it's not ever like, okay, we're done. You're never done.
That's exactly right.
What you didn't include was when he said how much they love Wicked and they just wanted to.
Yeah.
You didn't.
They didn't want to wait.
They
didn't want to wait for the third. They're just going to write it themselves because this trend is ridiculous.
They actually are.
Wicked 3 Ghost Protocol.
That is the working title, yes. No, they did actually say they would love to do more musicals. So who knows? Maybe they'll get Wicked 3, or I'm just excited to see that they're writing musicals because I don't know about y'all. I love musicals. I mean, assume y'all couldn't care less about musicals.
I like one musical, La La Land. Other than that, I'm good.
Which even that, like, it is a musical, but it's on the
an
line.
Excellent musical. Leave me alone. All right, what's next?
Okay, moving on to the next project. I've kind of kept this a secret because I wanted to talk with them about it first. But you remember when I went to South by earlier this year and I got to see some movies and some different kind of previews for different stuff. One of the movies I watched was a movie called Stages, and it actually features Abner and Amanda in the film. It's about a struggling indie artist who goes on tour after his band splits. The main artist is David Ramirez, but Abner plays one of his former bandmates who actually has found way more success than the band ever found. And so he kind of struggles with that jealousy tension of that. And then Amanda actually plays his ex-wife. And so there's some tension with that there. Obviously, very different sort of creative project that they've ever been a part of.
Wait, did you know going into screening this movie, did you know that they were in it?
So when I got for South by, I got, a list of all these different previews. I'm looking through all these movies. I see this name and I see at the end, Abner and Amanda Ramirez listed on the cast. And I was like, is that my good friends, Johnnyswim? And so I went and saw it. And it's not on like an IMDb page because it hadn't come out yet. And so it wasn't confirmed, but they were in it and they were excellent, I have to say. So I just wanted to ask, how do they get involved in an acting gig? Because again, that definitely is not something that they've ever done. And they actually knew the director. Here's how he said they got connected.
This film, Stages, to me is all the best things that I saw the first time I saw something Ryan Booth created made into a film. It's real performances, it's real takes. And Ryan, it's visceral in the sense of it doesn't feel performative. And if that's a thing you could say about people singing songs on stage, it doesn't feel performative. All the best performers, even if you see them in a stadium, the best performers make you feel like you're sitting in their house with them somehow, or that you're watching something intimate with them, that they're giving something to you that they've given to no one else ever. Those are what the best performances do. And that's what Ryan Booth does as a filmmaker. It feels like you'll never see a film like this again because it was so personal. It was so intimate. So what got us into it is that Ryan was doing it. So if Ryan's doing it, we want to be a part of it too.
What they didn't say is that they saw Wicked and they thought, we want to do that.
We cannot wait for another sequel.
We're going to act it in ourselves.
Yep. Wicked 3 Ghost Protocol. It's pretty good. I heard it's pretty good. There's an AI
Getting-
villain. There's an AI villain that wants to take over the world. And
It's getting rave reviews at South by.
yeah.
And Abner plays the developer of the AI, and Amanda plays, sadly, his ex-wife again. So they like those types of roles.
Yeah.
They're getting a little typecast, if I'm being honest, but
Yeah.
you know, it works for them.
Yeah, it's a wild take on the Wizard. It's the Wicked story takes this very strange turn.
You think you know the Wicked story. You haven't seen anything yet.
Until you've seen Ghost Protocol starring Abner and Amanda Ramirez.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Moving on to the very
6.5 hours long.
Divided into 3 parts.
Wait,
no, all one part.
No, it's they actually did divide it into 3, and it's the final one isn't coming out till 2034.
Right.
So
right. Get us back on track, Emily. What's the third thing?
Moving on, the very last thing. So I actually was not aware of
This
this.
is why we can't post clips on the internet of this show, because somebody, if we posted this Johnnyswim update, people would be like, why are they making fun of them about Wicked? We're not. You have to watch the whole show.
Yeah.
We're not making fun of anybody.
We would
Anyway,
never.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, the last project we got to talk about was actually something I was not even aware of. When they found out that I reached out for the interview, they were waiting to tell me. So I got to find this out on our call. Abner is actually working on a live worship album for the first time.
Heck yeah.
So he said that, they had done some worship nights over the years, and that he just started feeling more of a calling within this last year to record some of those. So he's actually working on that now, and it'll be out later this summer. But I'm going to let you tell him a little bit more about the project.
On Thursdays, we would do a worship night at our apartment at the time, and we have one this Friday at the house here. And it's kind of a joke, but I only know like 3 worship songs, but I would always like lead worship for everybody, and I would do those 3 songs. And in the period of those 14 years, we've gone through a lot of addition of humans to our friend group, to our family, the loss of humans, my father, her mother. We've gone through some of the hardest times, very, very much so the hardest times in our lives, and some of the best times in our lives in the last 13, 14 years. And one of the things that's always been an anchor for us is being able to pray and worship with our friends. Like just together, sing some worship songs, pray for each other. No pastor, no real like big guiding force, just being there for each other. And I was thinking about stuff that I want to create, and I felt this, I'll say burden, like I felt this need to do this project, and I'm going to record some of those songs. I'm going to record a worship EP in the coming weeks, just acoustic guitar and vocal. No production, no nothing. Just the way you would hear, and probably all in one take as well. The way you would hear it if you were at our house on one of those worship nights.
I had heard a few years ago that they were doing little worship night gatherings at their house in LA. And then I'm like, I wish I lived in LA, because I would have invited myself to that. But yeah, I'm excited. That's awesome. That's big news. And
they clarified that they only wanted to tell Relevant about it. So I love getting an exclusive, and I love getting a live worship album. So this was a big win for me, personally.
We could have released that news in 2 parts.
yeah,
We could have released
You're
part of that
welcome.
news now and part of that news next month.
18 months
All
from
right.
now.
After
In
the album's out.
2034. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to let you guys
that's
know,
great.
we knew about this, but this distribution deal, it's complicated, but it's how the business works now.
All right, well, that'll do it for Relevant Buzz. Make sure to go read more about all those stories and a lot more happening at the intersection of faith and culture at relevantmagazine.com. All right, stay tuned right now. It's time for Slices.
Slices.
All right, what do you have, Jesse?
All right, I'm going to keep this very quick, but I just feel like I need to inform people, because I know a lot of people are nervous. They probably saw the headlines going across every ticker in the country. Of course, I'm talking about Joey Chestnut, a man who knows his way around a hot dog. Well, now he is the one who's found himself in hot water.
Oh, no. No.
He was out at an establishment after winning recently the Ultimate Bologna Showdown in Tennessee.
What is that? You like roll up the bolognas into like hot dog
It's a lot of pork.
Yeah.
He consumed over 16 pounds of sausage in 8 minutes.
Oh, my God.
And he was, still celebrating the win. And he got into an altercation Unfortunately, he says he cannot remember the details. He's very apologetic. He's not a man known for moderation. And he open-handed slapped a man in the face, and he was arrested.
With bologna?
It's unclear. He does not recall. Now, I know what everyone is thinking. The 4th of July is weeks away. He has the mustard belt to defend. Is
that what they call it? The mustard belt?
It is. Is Major League Eating going to suspend him? And will he be allowed to leave the state of Indiana because he is now on probation? He has been sentenced. And the fate of the event is hanging in the balance. I have good news. Well, depending on what you think he deserves, bad news. He has been granted permission to leave the state for the contest, and Major League Eating said this did not violate any code of conduct. They have an extremely low bar. You can literally assault someone. You can literally drunkenly assault someone, and you're technically within
a sausage competition.
You're technically within the code of conduct of Major League.
That's
Eating.
America.
And so he will be there.
That's the America that we don't get very often.
Yeah.
By the way, the president of Major League Eating drives a van with a ladder on it.
Shag carpeting everywhere.
He for some reason noted that in the press conference. He just wanted people to know.
All right. Well, we're running out of time, so we're going to cut off slices there and do it because we got to get to your feedback just for a couple minutes or some good ones. So stay tuned right after this. It's the question of the week.
Editorial question of the week. Hey.
Okay, it's time for your feedback. So we asked you last week. We had posted a thing about A Thief in the Night on our IG. Played a bunch of clips. People, I mean, it's still going. I mean, this has been 2 weeks. It's been up. Thousands of comments, thousands of shares of people going, this was one of the most scarring movies I've ever seen in church, ironically. And so we want to know what's something you saw as a child that scarred you or was looking back was deeply inappropriate. You hit us up on our Instagram story. You hit us up on our YouTube. You commented under the video. And here are some of our favorites.
One was, I thought this was interesting, RoboCop. RoboCop seems cool in your mind. It is a very, very dark, hyper-violent satire. I don't think most people remember that. It was a commentary on like urban crime and the justice system. Yeah, watch out for RoboCop. Good pull there. It looked like a cool cop robot movie, but it wasn't.
Jeremy Risser said, my dad rented Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds when I was 7. Fear of birds unlocked. Yeah. That's a little early to see the birds.
I honestly, I think at any age, that's going to give you a scar for birds. It's pretty scary.
Yeah. This individual saw Bad Santa when they were a child.
They thought it was a Christmas movie.
They thought it was a family. The father thought it was a Christmas movie, and the mom was giving a lot of looks at how inappropriate it was. But seems like they powered through.
Pastor Kevin 222 says, "This is so innocent. Ernest scared stupid." He said there was a scene in the movie where a kid is scared of a troll under his bed. So he works up enough courage to look under the bed, only to turn around in bed and find the troll behind him. I had to sleep with my back to the wall for years in case there was a troll in my bed.
Hey, listen,
because they jump around.
The Ernest movies are, again, I think you don't remember how dark they are. At one point, there's 2 Ernest movies where Ernest is nearly executed. One in an electric chair, which happens to give him the power of electricity. That's Ernest Goes to Jail. I don't know if you guys remember the final scene in Ernest Goes to Camp, where a contractor attempts to execute Ernest with a rifle in front of all the campers. And Ernest comically sticks his finger in the hole of the rifle and does some sort of Native American chant, which disarms the man. And that's how the movie ends. Very dark films. Very, very dark.
I don't think I know what the Ernest films are.
It was like this weird 80s thing, or this character, Ernest.
Yeah.
And they just, like back then, they'd do a Police Academy movie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Revenge of the Nerds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ernest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like, but they're all unhinged. It's just one
unhinged.
Comedic character named Ernest. And they follow him on all these crazy.
I will say, the
adventures.
scene, I think we've talked about it on this podcast. There's one scene that holds up where it is Ernest Goes to Jail, and it starts off with him on jury duty, and he's taking it very seriously, and he's sitting there chewing on a pen as the court case is going on, and accidentally breaks the ink. I'm telling you, as a piece of physical comedy, it still holds up. As you can see, we got to do it. I'm sorry, guys. I know we can come back to the rest of these, but there's plenty of feedback. Hold on, let me find it. We got to do it, and maybe we can end on this.
Gentlemen, the state will prove that the defendant, Reuben Bartlett, who is a known henchman of the notorious crime czar and bank robber Felix Nash, did in fact murder a fellow prisoner while in jail. And for this, the state asked that
Just
you
wait, guys.
extend
It
his
gets
remaining
it gets
time of
zany
5
here.
months into a sentence of life without parole.
Ladies and gentlemen, the defense will show that the deceased was not killed by the In fact, he wasn't killed by anyone. He died as the result
Just
of a
wait.
tragic accident. When in a poorly lit stairwell, he placed railing and plunged regretfully to his death. If there is a guilty party in this case, it must surely be the system. Allow such
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
Once you've heard the evidence, I'm sure you'll agree with me that the charges against my client, Mr. Bartlett, are completely spurious. And that you will find him not guilty.
Oh no!
You guys get the idea. That's basically every Ernest movie. Emily, you can see why they
I'm
made.
sure you can find them on Tubi.
You can see why they made 8 of these films.
All right, there's great feedback this week. There's more where that came from. You can go chime in on our YouTube. Those will stay live. You can see them. Obviously, the ones that came to us on the story, you guys can't see, but they're great. Thanks for replying, everybody. We got a ton of them. All right, here's this week's
Editorial question of the week. Hey.
All right, we want to know. This is based on Jesse's earlier takes. What's a hill you will absolutely die on that most people think is ridiculous? Like Jesse's hill that America is not as good as it once was. What's a hill you will die on that most people think is ridiculous? Hit us up on YouTube in the comments, and then watch our stories where we will be posting this on all of our social feeds later today, actually, when you're watching this on Tuesday. All right. We know Jesse's. Emily, do you have one real quick?
Ooh, I gotta think of one that I'm willing to die on. That's
A hill you are gonna die on.
I feel like Jesse's willing to die on a lot more hills than I am, if I can be honest.
Oh, he's got a prairie full of little hills.
You got 2 weeks to think about this, Emily.
Yeah.
Make it.
I'll cook up a good one.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. All right, on that note, we'll wrap it. Many thanks to Johnnyswim for joining us. Make sure to check out all their huge new projects. And in 2034, check out Mel Gibson's Resurrection of the Christ when it comes out, 2034. No, I'm joking. Again, remember, no episode next week, so watch this one twice, and that'll help our ad revenue. On that note, we'll wrap it. I'm Cameron Strike.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Emily Brown.
We'll see you in 2 weeks. Have fun in Montana, everybody.
Everybody?